I was thinking a lot about idolatry last night, somewhere over the rainbow. You know, someday I'll be happy when I have this, when I have that, when I have the pride of life, when I have the lust of the flesh. You know, I'm just going to be happy if I get the man, the baby, the car, the kid, the house, somewhere over the rainbow. Only you get to that place and you're still discontent. I was thinking about actually King David. This girl was telling me a story about how she got really, really depressed when somebody came into her life that started chasing after the wind of being somebody and talking her into forsaking relationships so she could go find her life, and that's what she needed to do. And she went straight into the death hole of selfishness and self-gratification, and kind of was going half crazy. So I was like that. I was always like that as a kid growing up. Somewhere, someday I'm going to be happy, but we lose the day. And I was thinking about that too, because people that live in that kind of fantasy, somewhere over the rainbow, when all the stars are lined up, I'm going to be happy. And you know, that day never comes, and you lose every day. You don't ever live in reality with people in idolatry. People that live in idolatry in a state of mind of somewhere over the rainbow, they miss every single day they have. And their whole projection is on tomorrow when it's all going to be better, or what a bitch it was in the past, right? So they don't live in the here and now, and they don't do what's right with people in the here and now either. So the worship of nothing, I happened to get a little email. I thought I'd read it really quick. We know that an idol is nothing in the world and that there is no one other but God. Idolatry is the worship of nothing. It's bowing down to serving some kind of desire that when it's fulfilled will leave you empty once again. Jeremiah likened it to the worship of idols as trying to fill a broken cistern. For my people have committed two evils. They've forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed out themselves cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Exactly what Satan tried to sucker Adam and Eve into and did, into being earthly, sensual, and devilish. You'll be satisfied when you eat that death apple, right? Yeah, I've chased the wind a lot in my younger years. So so it says, and in the end, what do you have? Nothing. So you're rich, so you're famous. Famous is fleeting, it's nothing. Fame is nothing. Even wealth is nothing when you don't have love. And there's a real mystery that Jesus Christ talks about in losing your life to find it. Unless a man gives up everything and follows me, he's not even worthy of me. And the worst problem with people that chase after the wind is they gotta be evangelists. They become pastors and shepherds of chasing after the wind and rebelling against God. And there's a lot of that goes on. It's kind of what happened to King David, which that's what I was reading last night and thinking about it. So King David has this son, Absalom. And Absalom got a little earthly and sensual and devilish, and he started pitying people because he was pitying himself. And they kind of liked that pity thing. Oh, I think we need your comfort. Or you're gonna dish out pity. Well, who wants to be responsible? We'll go for that. Yeah, your father has terrible judgment because he makes you own it. You know, he makes you exercise. We don't want that good judgment. We'd much rather be pitied. So he drew people into himself. He had forsaken the Lord himself. He wasn't glorifying God. He wasn't lifting up God. He was wise in his own conceit, and all of his thoughts were his God, all of his vain, empty pursuits. So there's a lot of scriptures about that too, in Jude, Peter, the things people do when they don't do Romans 1 well, the decline of the soul. Meanwhile, in their thoughts, either accusing or excusing, that's the ditch that Adam and Eve went into, the accusing and excusing ditch. And this garden can't be what we really need, that has everything wonderful and beautiful and fine. Yeah, we need something else. Give us some death apples, right? So there's another scripture that says vanity of vanities. Idolatry and vanity are pretty much the same thing. Deuteronomy 32, 1 Kings 16, 23, 26, Jeremiah 8, 19, 14, 22. Acts, it's all over the place. Vanity, nothingness, emptiness, meaningless. I've heard like 3 or 4 rich men that just read the book of Ecclesiastes and got saved because they realized they were chasing the winds of vanity. And you are not in the here and now. When you're looking to be famous, you're looking to be, make money. You miss today because you're chasing the wind, right? So let's see here. God summed up what becomes of those who pursue idols, worthless idols. They followed vanity, worthless idols, and they became vain, worthless. Paul equates idolatry with covetousness and deems the covetous man an idolater. What does our zealous pursuit, one earthly prize or another, ultimately get us? Vanity of vanities, all is vanities. Again, if you want to read about the chase of emptiness, somewhere over the rainbow where you're going to just be thin and fine and beautiful and everything's going to be wonderful and the stars are going to line up someday magically, right? But Proverbs says, hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. And so let's go to the woman in the well a minute. But whoever drinks of the living water that I shall give him shall never thirst. This is what Jesus said to her. Not only does he read her mail and says, man, look at all these scummy things that have gone on in your life and what you've done wrong. She got so excited that he knew who she really was. She went and told it all. And people that love the light, they don't have any problem with telling it all. It's people that are hiding behind the bushes. And I heard a good one too about that. God said, Adam, where are you? God talking to Adam, where are you? Jesus knocking on the door. Adam, well, I wonder where God is. He forsook us. Everybody's waiting for God to magically do something for them, right? But really, until we start telling God where we are, behind the bushes, with some fig leaves on that have some little spikes on it, worldly, sensual, earthly, devilish. We reject the knowledge of God in our own conscience. All we can do is default to accusing and excusing. So, what I've realized after all these years too is people that are chasing the winds of vanity are not home. They're not home in the real and now. You don't have a relationship with Jesus and them, what they're handling, tasting, and touching of the word of life themselves that day. Give us this day our daily bread. They don't have any bread because they're chasing the winds of vanity. There is no bread. There's a desert soul. And it talks about that in Jeremiah 17:2, the curse. No shade, just heat. No growth, just desert. Barren, useless, unfruitful. The fig tree with no leaves, no fruit. Because those words that we hide in his heart every day to not sin against him are the gold mine that we have to give somebody else that actually wants out of the hell of empty pursuits of idolatry. Because when you love God and when you love your brother, man, that's what we were made to be turned on by. You're chasing the wind and you're never going to catch it, sadly. That's why a lot of people end up committing suicide or whatever, destroying each other, because then we make people pay for our own misery because we're chasing the winds of vanity. And anybody that interrupts with that little fantasy life is to be greatly despised. And anybody that's forsaken the Lord, like Absalom, has a pity ministry to those, and they have to evangelize. Chase after the wind, you'll get what you need. Yeah, they have to take people into the bar, drinking from the cup of devils, because that's where they live. So we're all taking people somewhere. My greatest goal is to glorify God and share what I'm handling, tasting and touching of the words of life today, his word that I'm hiding in my heart so I don't sin against him, and giving me and Jesus away, not me in some vain chase and me in some demon of indifference or lying spirit or whatever other demonic forces there are in the world that are energizing me because I let demons in the door to look down on people, be bitter, critical, offended, chew people up. They eat up my people as one eats bread and calling out upon the name of the Lord. Yeah, there's a lot of backsnacking going on out there. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody because we were made to glorify God and we were made to lose our life to find it and not be heady, high-minded. The downfall in 2 Peter, if you haven't read it, and the downfall in Jude, there's conditions of the decline of man's soul in the way they think. Also in Romans 1. there's like 5 steps to get to the place where you deny the knowledge of God in your soul and start accusing and excusing. So that's the hell I lived in. And I was always looking for the somewhere over the rainbow. When all the stars line up, I'm going to be happy. But no, I was really angry because God wasn't giving me my burger my way. And that's because I wasn't hearing his voice and obeying it. So anyway, I think I'll end it with this. So I had these friends come over, and both of them have lost quite a bit of weight. And they were talking about, we're free, we feel so good. We have vitality in our flesh, we have vitality in our spirit. Interesting how self-denial can do a lot for you. The way of the cross is the way of self-denial, not self-indulgence. And when we indulge ourselves because we're tormented, because we're doing what we know we shouldn't do, we'll live a life of self-indulgence of one kind or another. I was an exercise freak, I was an overeater, an undereater. I took some kinds of drugs when I was younger. So we'll have to find that comfort somewhere when we don't have the comfort of not denying God's voice deep inside of us. So that's my prayer for you, that you would get the hell out of the kingdom of accusing and excusing, so you can fulfill your lusts and chase after the wind that you're never going to catch. Because a lot of people, I've known people that now have lived and died in a fantasy, and they never live in reality. They're always thinking about the next thing, tomorrow, when I get this, when I climb this mountain tomorrow, when I do this, do that. They're living from event to event because that's all they have. They don't have living waters. And Jesus is willing to give you living waters so you'll never be thirsty, and the bread of life so you'll never be hungry. And those people, if they do it here on earth, they're probably going to end up in the place where it all happens in eternity too. So I'd say try to do that today so you can be worthy. You know, it says that. Jesus said that. Unless a man deny himself and pick up his cross and follow me, he's not even worthy. And what I have to say is, God never slighted me. I never turned into his victim. And when I lost my life, I started finding it. Very deep mystery. Amen.